In today's weekly Forex forecast, we are talking about the DXY, the euro, the pound, the dollar versus the Swiss franc, and also gold. I'll have all the details in today's video, including key levels to watch next week and scenarios. So I'll show you exactly how I'm looking to trade these markets. If you're new here, my name is Justin Bennett, founder of Daily Price Action and Forex trader for the last 17 years. And I'm putting out videos like this one every single day. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. All right, guys, daily time frame here on the DXY. We have the market pulling back from 100.25. So we knew that this was going to be a significant area here for the US dollar. Sure enough, it was. Okay, so we saw the market come into this area. This purple line right here indicates a poor high or unfinished auction from back here in August. So areas like this tend to get swept. We saw that here on this candle on Wednesday, and we are seeing follow through now from the DXY. Now, the key for the US dollar going into next week is going to be this November open right around 99.75. So if we look here at the 4-hour time frame, you can see where the market tried to hold on to it here on Thursday. However, we are well below it now on Friday. Now, the key here is that I'm making this video before the actual close on Friday. So it's going to depend on where this market closes here over the coming hours in terms of whether or not this is new resistance. As of right now, it does look like we are going to get that break below the November open. And if we get that, then again, this is going to flip to resistance for next week. Okay, so you've got resistance up here for the DXY. You've got support down here at the low, right around 99.4. And one thing to keep in mind here for the US dollar for next week is that we do have, just below this support level, we do have some inefficiencies from back here on this candle. So what you'll notice is that this move up was so aggressive following this congestion that we have these two single prints right here, these inefficiencies at 99.3 and 99.37 or so. So these are going to be significant for next week because if we do see the DXY punch below here and sweep this level, there is a decent chance that we get a bounce from this area, okay? So my ideal scenario for next week, and it doesn't mean that it will happen, but if I'm looking for those A+ setups across pairs like the euro or the pound or the dollar Swiss franc for that matter, what I'm looking for is this area down here to serve as support next week, potentially getting a sweep of this low here on Friday, a punch down here to this area, and then a relief here, some relief here from the DXY back here toward the November open. This is what I want to short against if we get the close below it on Friday, okay? So this has been significant. You can see the lows back here on the way up. You can see, again, the market tried to hold it through here. We do have an inefficiency up here as well in this region. So this right here is what I want to short against here on the US dollar if we get the close below on Friday. Now, if I zoom out, you can see where on the 4-hour time frame, we have this really nice ascending channel here, okay? So you can see that off of these lows back here, we have this equidistant channel. This was the high, right at 100.25 or just above on that sweep. And we have this area down here, this pocket, right around 98.8. Now, this is really interesting because if we take a look here, okay, so let's turn on TPO, that's time price opportunity. This is going to give you a market profile. And I'm going to go in here and switch this over to a weekly and actually a monthly here to take a look at this. Okay, so this right here is interesting because this is the month of October, okay? So what this represents here, this POC is a point of control. And what this represents is basically from the high to the low in October, this right here, this white line you see is where the market spent most of its time, okay? Not volume, but time. So 98.9, right there. Now we have the September high down there at 98.6. We have the bottom of this channel right there in that area. And furthermore, you can see where the price action back here at the time, if I turn this off for a second, and we move in, you can see the price action back here at the time on this expansion out of this area, right? We had the congestion. This was the expansion. You can see this candle right here. This is your bullish candle that started that impulsive move. Now, this low right here is interesting in the sense that there is bound to be liquidity down here in this region, okay? So ideally, guys, what I'm looking for here from the DXY, obviously we have to close below the November open on Friday. But again, I'm looking for a move up here, some relief, potentially from down here early next week into that November open. If this holds, then we're looking at that potential move lower back down here towards support, and then ideally down here toward this area. Okay, this is what I want to try to buy against if we get that move down here. But for now, if we get the close below the November open, the retest up here early next week, this is what I want to short against for the US dollar. So this is helpful if you're trading any of the major currency pairs because this is really going to drive the Forex market, as long as we get that. And again, I'm not showing you guys this to show, this is where the market is going to go or this is what's going to happen because I don't know that. But looking at the structure here, I think that there is, good reason to believe that if we close below that November open, we are likely to get that push lower into this area down here, the bottom of that channel, and also that confluence of support down there around really between 98.6 and 98.9. Okay, so let's take a look now at the Euro USD. And by the way, guys, if you do want my help with your trading, including seeing my trades live, also VIP-only videos, full access to the Discord group, which is real-time chat. I'm in there every single day updating members, providing chart updates, sharing my trades live, and everything else. If you want access to all of that, plus the full course, plus a new VIP portal that we're launching here this weekend, then be sure to check out the link in the description of this video for 85% off. If you're on the website, click on that Join VIP link. All right, so let's get into the Euro USD. And by the way, guys, the Discord group did just get a brand new, whole new makeover with new categories and channels and everything else. So a lot of cool updates there for you guys to check out. So looking at the Euro USD here on the 4-hour time frame. So what we talked about here earlier in the week was the fact that this right down here. So this is one of the benefits of being in the Discord group as well, because what I alerted members to, VIP members to back here on Wednesday was this right here. So this move was significant because if you'll notice here, if I move out and take a look at this like lower here from the Euro, what you'll notice is that we had obviously a series of lower highs and lower lows. Okay, so when this changed right through here. Okay, so it changed because you had these highs through here. This was the first higher high within this sequence. Okay, so that was significant. And sure enough, it certainly was, because we got the Euro moving higher from that point. Now, full disclosure though, I was looking for a pullback here. What I told members was I ideally wanted to see the market come back here into this confluence of support down here in this area, something like this to get long and then get that push toward the November open. Obviously, we didn't get that. Now, that's okay, because what the market is doing here on Friday does set up another opportunity potentially for next week. So with that, we have the Euro now trading back above these lows from back here. So we knew that this was going to be a significant area. Sure enough, we saw it sell off a little bit here. However, notice what became support, that November open. That November open we talked about at 115.28. So for next week, guys, this is your pocket of support. As long as we close Friday above here, which again, we do have several hours left in today's session, it could technically close back below here. So, let me just kind of map this out. If then scenarios, right? If we close above here convincingly on Friday, then this becomes your key support, right? Looking for buys here into this for a push up there into that September low. Also that inefficiency around 1.1595. Now, if we close below here on Friday, okay, if something, were to happen here, the U.S. government reopens, which it doesn't seem like it's likely, but you never know. If we were to get something like that and the Euro closes back below here on Friday, of course, that would kind of negate that scenario. But as long as we close above here convincingly, then I am looking for buys on pullbacks next week for a push into this area around 116. And then from there, that's going to be a significant resistance for the Euro, simply because if we look at the monthly time frame, obviously November just opened, and looking back here at these candles on the monthly, right, you have this low from right back here in September. So we have the September low, October obviously closed below. So you do have this inefficiency right up there around 116.08. Okay. So that likely gets filled considering where we are right now from the Euro. Okay. So that's what I'm looking for next week. Basically, if we close above here, I'm looking for pullbacks into this area down here around 115.40, this general region, for that push into the September low, also that inefficiency. And again, if we close below here on Friday, then that obviously negates any kind of bullish scenario going into next week. Now, let's take a look here at the pound GBP USD. This one is really interesting, guys, because we do have obviously a well-defined range here over the past few months. I mean, really for most of the year, this market has been going sideways. Now, we have these two lows back here. And what I told VIP members was on this move up, okay, on Thursday, this started to look a little bit more bullish because we had a very strong move, a very impulsive move back here toward this resistance area. So notice too, the November open is right through here. So 1.313, 1.314, that was the key area here for the pound. Now, this started to look more bullish, and this is what, I often talk about where retests, not all retests are created equal, because this retest right here, notice how there is a lack of space between here. Okay, if this retest had occurred like this, right, stair-step pattern up slowly, and then you get a change in structure here, and you get that pullback, that's different. When you get a market that closes below like this, and then within 2 days snaps right back to the level, that is bullish, guys. That shows bullish intent. Okay, but you need the confirmation, right? You need the confirmation in the form of a close below. Now look at the weekly time frame, right? Notice this long lower wick down here. Now, eventually we probably fill this in, okay? But I wouldn't be looking for that next week, at least if the market is going to stay constructive here, because really, if you look at the daily time frame, this is what has to hold now. I mean, no doubt about it. You've got the lows back here, right? You've got these lows back here and this congestion through here, that November open. This is the area, guys, 1.313, 1.314. This is what has to hold next week. So just like the euro, as long as we close below or above here on Friday, then I am looking for buys against this area, okay? I'm looking for buys against this area for a push up here into some of these areas, including this high here, this one here. And the reason for that, we have unfinished auctions in both of those areas. Now, furthermore, you can also see that every single candle right here, right, we've got fair value gaps along the way. So inefficiencies along the way as well to target. So I do think, again, if we close above here on Friday, I'm looking for buys against this area for a push into some of these areas, potentially a retest of that September low up here around 1.3324 or so. All right, now, if we were to see the US dollar rotate even lower, right, than what we talked about here on the DXY. So looking at the DXY, if we were to see the market actually rotate lower than this, because that's probably what it would take for the pound to rally above that September low. But if we were to get that, in the event we were to get that, this up here is going to be a really interesting spot, because this right here is a 7-month composite POC. Okay, so what that means is that over the past 7 months, okay, all of this price action through here, this level up here is where the pound has spent most of its time. And so that is going to be significant if we were to see that. Now, it's also the 2024 high, okay, or I'm sorry, back here, 2024 high. And this is also going to be the 50% of this range. Okay, so there is a lot going on there at 1.3433. Now, just to be clear though, guys, that would not be my first target. Okay, that would not be my first target if we get the close above here on Friday. My first target obviously would be areas like this and also that September low. This up here, yes, we could reach that, but that would not be my first target. And it also doesn't really align with, again, going back to the DXY, it doesn't really align with the DXY down here in this area. Okay, so we could obviously get the DXY breaking below here. And if so, then we are looking at the pound up there toward 1.3433. Okay, but for now, for me, it's a matter of get above here on Friday, looking for buys against this area next week. Okay, targeting some of these areas, including that September low. All right, so let's move on now to the dollar Swiss franc, which is really interesting as well, looking at the weekly time frame. Obviously, the market is rejecting from those range highs, also that key resistance around 0.81. Now, this is a pair that on the daily time frame, it's kind of a mess. However, if you go to the weekly chart, guys, this is really, really clean. It has been clean for years. And this right now is your new range. So back here, this was obviously the range. And now with this breakdown, this right here is the range. This is essentially the midpoint. So this is your range you're dealing with. And there's a lot of room here, guys. This is a weekly time frame, so there's a lot of room to trade the dollar Swiss franc here. So if we close bearish this week, and by that, what I mean is we have to close this week below this high from back here. I mean, that's ideally what we see. So if we get that, right, if we get the market closing below here, then I am going to be looking for shorts against this area, okay? Right around 0.8065 all the way up to about 0.8075. And the reason for that is you can see we have the high back here, okay? So as of right now, this up here is your range high. We had a deviation above that, and now we've had a break below highs like this back here and these lows. Okay, so this is what I'm looking to short against. Now, this is very similar to the DXY, right? It's very similar to the DXY and what we talked about there in that November open. Okay, so if you'll remember, the DXY, what I said there was that as long as we close the week below here, then I'm looking for shorts on the US dollar against that November open. So similar situation here for the dollar Swiss franc, okay? I'm looking for shorts against this area if we close below. And as for a target, obviously we have inefficiencies and an unfinished auction down here in this area. However, when you look at the range here, okay, the range that is built up. So basically from this area down here, now these were liquidation sweeps that you see below this and above it, but your range is essentially this. Okay, now if I just clean this up and I'm just going to do a 50% here. So if we look at the 50%, it comes in right there around 7987. All right, so you can also see where this is a key level here for this pair, okay? So ideally, this is going to be my target. This up here is what I want to short against. Okay, so we have some inefficiencies up here on the 4-hour time frame. And again, we did lose this area, okay? So that's what I'm looking for. Short against this, getting that move down here toward the 50%, all right? So simple enough there from the dollar Swiss franc. Obviously, with any of this stuff, guys, if we were to see the market blow back above this and just, take out these highs, then that's different, right? We're not looking for shorts there. And it also depends on how this market retests it next week. Keep that in mind. Just like I mentioned with the pound, not all retests are equal. So it's going to depend on what this looks like early next week, okay? If we were to get something with the U.S. government happening and the market were to just snap right back to this, then I would be a lot more hesitant about trying to look for shorts, okay? But as long as we just kind of grind back here toward this early next week, then yes, I will be looking for shorts against this area. Now, could it be a little bit higher up here into this region? That's fine. This general area is what I'm interested in. Okay, so let's wrap things up with gold, XAUUSD, and we have a lot to cover here on this market, despite the fact that it has been very sideways. So looking here, obviously massive run up here from precious metals. And this pullback, we knew, it was coming eventually, right? Just because longs had gotten themselves in trouble. We did see this liquidation cascade here recently in October. So for me, guys, whenever I'm taking setups, what I want to see first of all is I want to see a liquidation first. I want to see either bulls or bears getting liquidated first, preferably at a key area. Now, we didn't have a key area up here simply because this was all-time highs. Obviously, it's very, difficult, if not impossible, to come up with key levels when you're trading, at all-time highs like that. But for me, guys, it's about the liquidation first, then you look for that confirmation. So first of all, we had longs get liquidated, right? Check, right? That's been done. Now, you can also see back here at this low, we've also taken that out as well. So again, longs have been liquidated. That's out of the way. Now, the second thing that I need to see, though, is confirmation that buyers are regaining control. So for me, right, you can see we have the November open here. That's all good and well, but really, this is right here in the middle of this range, and it's not going to be enough for me to pull the trigger. So what I need to see, and in fact, I'm going to get rid of this just to kind of clean it up so you guys can see exactly what I'm looking for. But really for me, guys, what I need now is I need to see bulls take out this area. So 40-30, 40-60. This is the area up here, this pocket of resistance that I need to see gold get above. Now, I'm going to show you a few things here for next week that this doesn't mean that it's going to play out this well. Okay, it doesn't mean it's going to show up exactly this way. But what you're going to notice back here in this consolidation is that we have this open gap. So this candle right here on the 4-hour time frame, what you'll notice is if I draw a horizontal right through here, so I'm going to snap it right here to this closing price. And what you'll notice is that the very next candle, right, did not fill this, okay? So we gapped down here, we did not fill this. So if I had to take a guess, right, if we're going to get the break above 40-60, in my opinion, this is where we probably see gold reverse lower. So we probably come up here, take out this area, fill that gap, and then from here we get that rotation lower. Now, this obviously assumes that we are trading above 40-60, right? Because that's the confirmation I need to carve that higher high. Notice how we've had these lower highs. I need to see the market above here to carve out that first higher high. If we get that, this is probably where we get that reversal. Okay, somewhere around 41.14. So what that could look like is come up here, fill in this gap from back here. Then I'm looking for that pullback. Now, mind you, this entire period, right? If we get this, I'm doing nothing through this period. I'm not doing anything at all. I'm waiting for that pullback down here into this zone. Now, I want to show you a couple other things here. One is if we turn on TPO, time price opportunity, and let me just make sure that we have the correct settings here. So, nope, I want weekly. Okay, so weekly time frame, right? Weekly period. So notice how this week here, okay, so just to kind of clarify, guys, these are the order blocks for this week. These are the order blocks for last week. This is the market profile, and you can see where the POC here, the point of control, this is where gold spent most of its time during this week. Now, what you're going to notice is that this white line right through here, guess where it lines up? Right there with that gap. Okay, now that is probably not a coincidence. In fact, that just adds more confluence to this area as key resistance, okay? So the idea that we are going to get the push above here, if we get the push above here, still a big if, but if we get the push above here, again, this is the area I'm watching for the pullback. Now, as far as where we pull back to, okay, what I'm going to be looking for is something similar to what you see right now. So again, TPO, guys, weekly time frame, look where the POC is for this week, right here around this area. Now, I probably shouldn't have gotten rid of that monthly open, because I'm going to put it back on here and show you guys exactly what I'm looking for. So this is the November open. Let's go back here to that 4-hour time frame. Okay, so notice where the POC is for this week. Okay, right here in this same area. So November open here, POC for this week right here. So here's the deal, guys. Here is the game plan for next week. And again, this does not mean it's going to happen this way. This is my ideal scenario. Okay, so if we get gold pushing above 40.60, that is my trigger to start looking for longs. Okay, get the move above here. This is probably where we reverse, at least see some selling pressure. And then from there, guys, I'm looking for a push down here into this area. Now, a lot of people would be looking for areas like this. They would say, oh, well, 40.30, 40.60, this is now your support. So I'm going to look for here. But what you tend to see happen with these markets is you tend to get, retracements that go a little bit deeper into the pocket of recent congestion. Okay, so that would be for gold down here in this area, right? And looking at that November open, we've got the POC from this week right down there around, 4K, maybe just below. And also 4K is also a big round number. It's a psychological number. So for me, what I'm looking for is, again, 40.60, reclaim that. This area up here probably becomes resistance. So we probably see gold rotate lower from there. And then from here, guys, instead of looking for areas like this, I'm looking for something a little bit deeper. Okay. Now, also, I want to say too, it depends on what the price action looks like on the way up. So if we get this, right, what do these candles look like on the way up? Do we have inefficiencies that develop along that move, right? And if we do, then that's going to dictate whether I'm looking here, okay, looking for buys down here, or I'm looking for buys up here. So there is some play in this, right, for next week, depending on how this looks if we get it. It's still a big if, all right? Because really, we don't know. Gold could just punch right through this area, right, blow right through this area and just continue lower. It doesn't seem likely right now, but it could happen, right? So we have to entertain all scenarios. And really, there is no confirmed long setup as long as the market is below this area. Okay, but that is my game plan, guys, for gold. That is kind of the ideal scenario that we get here for next week. And part of the reason, too, that I'm looking for this potential long setup from gold is the fact that we have all of these inefficiencies up here. So during this pullback, during this cascade that we saw in October, right, you have all these inefficiencies that built up above these highs up here. You've got 42.42, 42.90, 43.14. So all of these guys become areas that I could target on the way up if we get the move above here, followed by that pullback. Okay, so that is the plan for gold, guys. Obviously not financial advice. This is just what I'm doing. I will be sure to update members in Discord on what I'm doing there next week, including any entries I take with stop losses and take profits as I always do. All right, guys, I hope this video helped. If it did, be sure to join us in VIP. Claim your 85% off link in the description of this video, or if you're on the website, click on that join VIP link. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you again next week.